In this second part of the custom shape video, you will learn how to create a more complex custom shape and how to use the pen tool to aid you in creating your more complex and nuanced custom shape. So if you haven't watched part 1 of the custom shape tutorial, go ahead and backtrack and watch how I help you create the snowman. So we are going to work on this jack-o'-lantern, and I have just begun the pumpkin by a series of ellipses, but you'll notice that they're a bit squished and morphed. So let's go ahead and begin to create another pumpkin. And because my shape tool is set on new layer, this will be on a new layer from this other pumpkin, I'm going to create a vertical ellipse. Then I'm going to switch to combine shapes, create 3 more vertical ellipses. Notice that these are all being created on the same layer. Now I can go to my path selection tool and I can move over the ellipses so that they're touching each other. I'm going to switch now to the direct selection tool, which we just took a quick look at in the previous video. And you notice that these shapes are drawn by a path that has points. So I can move the points with the direct selection tool. It'll ask you if you want to turn a live shape into a regular path. You can go ahead and click yes. And so this will make the ellipses look more organic and less sort of geometric and regular. Now you'll notice that there's these lines to the side of the points along the path. These are the handlebars for a curve. And so it takes a bit of practice and kind of just playing around with the handlebars, but you can stretch out or adjust not only the points along the path, but also the direction of the curve. Okay, so no two pumpkins are alike, and I'm happy with that basic shape that I'm creating. Now I'm gonna add a stem to my pumpkin. Again, there's more than one way to do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and use the rectangle tool. And again, I wanna make sure that I'm set on combine shapes. I'll draw a rectangle, and then I'm going to switch to my direct selection tool, and I can adjust the placement of these points. Now you notice it's taking me a second because this is a bit touching. You have to click right on the point. Now the reason why there are no handlebars on this rectangle is because that it's a geometric shape with just lines and no curves. The ellipse was created with points that were along a curve. Okay, so I'm happy with that shape for my pumpkin stem, and I'm going to switch to the pen tool. The pen tool is located on your toolbar just above the type tool. We just want to work with the pen tool, and what's really cool about it is that the path operations are the same as working with a shape or a custom shape. So you could combine shapes, and you can also subtract front shape. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract to create the eyes for my jack-o'-lantern. Remember that took away the stem when I changed this to subtract front shape, which is totally fine. I just went to undo that operation and it appeared again. Okay, to begin drawing with the pen tool, I click once to make a point along the path. I click once and drag while I'm still holding down to create a curve. I'm going to click again to make another point. So that's an angular point, not a curved point. I click and drag. So you see the handlebars appearing to make a curved point. I'm going to click to make an angular point. I'm going to click and drag to make a curved point. And then I'm going to click to just sort of complete that selection. Now I'm going to use my direct selection tool. I can move around this placement of the eye, and I can also click directly onto those points or to the toolbar to make sort of a more interesting curve for my pumpkin's eyes or my jack-o'-lantern's eyes. All right, so I will repeat those steps with the pen tool. Again, I'm making sure that I'm on subtract front shape. So this is all being created on the same layer. Click to make a point, click and drag to make a curve, click, click and drag, click, click to complete the selection. I could have also used the path selection tool, held down Option, and duplicated the eye. That would have worked fine. Now I'm going to create the mouth for my jack-o'-lantern, so I'm clicking to make a point. And you can see that that eye did not get completed, the selection, so it's pulling it out to the mouth. So I'm just going to step backwards a few steps. And it looks like the eye is completed now. If you haven't noticed the history panel on your toolbar, it's very useful. It's typically hidden, but you can just click. It's this 3 boxes stacked on top of each other with the back arrow. And rather than just stepping backwards, you can actually go to a specific point in time, sort of finish your work that way. Okay, so I've completed that shape and I can make another new shape for the mouth. So I'm clicking to make the corner of the mouth, clicking and dragging to make it a curve, click to make the corner, click and drag to make a curve, and clicking to complete the mouth. Now I would like to add some teeth, so I'm going to use the rounded rectangle tool. Again, there would be more than one way to add teeth. I'm just choosing to use the rounded rectangle tool. I'm going to go to Combine Shapes. I'm going to go Undo Set Operation to keep that mouth cut out. But I'm just combining shapes to make the teeth for my jack-o'-lantern. Pretty cool. As you can see, this is all being created on the same layer. So if I were to click on it with the path selection tool, it's all on the same layer. I could use the move tool to move the entire shape. I'm going to click on it again with the path selection tool. I can go to Edit, Define Custom Shape, and I have my pumpkin. You will want to create a pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern with some really unique and nuanced curves that you've used and created with the shape tool, the pen tool, and the direct selection tool. You will want to save this as a custom shape. After you've created your snow person and the pumpkin, you are going to create one more holiday shape of your choosing. So it can be anything from a gingerbread man to a nutcracker, an Easter bunny, a turkey. It's totally up to you if you just want to be creative in creating this custom shape. Have fun.